Welcome back to the Elimination bracket. This is going to be a match between Frosty Teeth and YoloSwaggins, both of whom... Actually, did they play each other? No, I don't think so. The point is, they both had lost a match earlier on, so here they are to face each other off for their tournament lives. Frosty Teeth, is that like from Homeworld Cataclysm, like the Titan Republic? Kind of looks like it, not sure. YoloSwaggins, of course, rolling the default colors, because why not? Actually, like, I've never seen the default colors for Coalition, really, except for in the campaign. I'm not so sold on them. But, you know, it is what it is. So, spawning up here in the north is going to be... Who is this? Frosty Teeth, and spawning down there in the south is YoloSwaggins. Frosty Teeth going for much earlier LAV fabrication. We'll have to see if he's got something spicy planned for us today. And YoloSwaggins is kind of lackadaisically moving out with his base runner across the field. The map is the Boneyard, of course. I've talked about this a little bit before, but it's kind of interesting. There's like, it's almost like two routes to your opponent's base, you know, like very open, flat area, very good for railguns over here, and then kind of more hilly side area, which also has a high ground on it, so it's a little easier to attack down that way. Or you can go down the side route here, which is also pretty flat, all things considered. And actually, there's somewhat of an imbalance on this map, although it's generally considered one of the better 1v1 maps because of balance reasons, but just a little bit, you know, this is like on a low ground, so it's harder to hold this one, and this is on a high ground, so it's easier to hold this one, but usually doesn't end up making a difference from what I've seen. And I noticed last time this thing is floating, you know, why not? This base runner up here, actually Grapey did this too. I'm not sure why they're sending their base runner like to their extraction zone. Maybe it's some kind of insane pro play I'm just not aware of. AV fabrication, I can see coming out from YoloSwaggins. Still nothing of the sort from Frosty Teeth. He has got a couple of LAVs out on the field. Might be able to deny some scouting if this probe comes too close to them. Probe is going to see the base runner here, not take any shots, as I say as it gets shot. Almost didn't take any shots there. That's actually one thing we're changing in the balance patch, is that, I believe anyway, that base runners have like an instant wind-up time, so if you come into range, they shoot at you like that. I'm not sure, but I think so. Turret's coming down here, and I gotta say that's a little interesting. I guess it helps him extract. And yeah, that adds like a nice extraction line here. Maybe that's the idea behind this, but I'm used to seeing people kind of put their turret down a little bit more aggressively. But I'm not a Coalition player. Maybe this is actually better. But this turret right here, this is getting pretty aggressive. Look at that. Now, he doesn't want to get too close to the carrier, of course, but he can just kind of... Especially, yeah, look at this. He's making a support cruiser and everything. He's going to have to move his carrier out to, you know, lock down that attack there. This is usually better if it's supported by some units, but still pretty annoying. Artifact going to be extracted by Frosty Teeth. Meanwhile, these LAVs dive onto this poor salvager. Can't they see we're unarmed? And he's gonna go down for sure. These guys not being told to back away. My dudes, get out of there! It's a trap! It's a trap! Base runner getting chewed up a little bit. Oh, he's putting the turret down there? Yeah, I'm not really sure what I think about that. This guy fidgeting like crazy. What's going on over here meanwhile? How many salvagers have gone down? Looks like 2. But the AAVs are going to hold this off, and there's a support cruiser out there, so that's always nice. But this turret will certainly die. How many salvagers will he get? Looks like 2, I would have expected. 2 salvagers for a turret? That's not so bad, but especially because it kind of has slowed down this economy here. He really needs to get his guy over, his carrier over here, start getting that second base up and put salvagers over there. And if he's worried about turrets, you know, producing units to deal with it, like this AAV, look at that. So both players on AAVs. There's a couple more from YoloSwaggins' side. Fortunately, this isn't launched back when, you know, like AAV versus AAV was just like a tickling war. But yeah, pretty good value actually from that turret, I gotta say. I didn't think so well of it at first, but it got 2 salvagers. I feel like that's actually pretty good. This base runner here getting chewed up just a little bit. I'd love to see him put a turret down right there. It looks like he's got different plans. He's just going to go for the artifact. But I feel like that turret would have been pretty instrumental in getting some of the middle of the map kind of under his control. These AVs gonna have high ground, and there's two of them, so that's gonna be a pretty one-sided fight. Although I don't like them moving down to the low ground. It just increases the damage you're gonna take from this guy, basically. Smoke goes up, pretty good. There is indeed a second base getting set up now. Well, hasn't been blown open yet, but it's getting set up by Frosty Teeth. AVs shooting at each other 5 days. Nice little backstab of LAVs, but there's not many of them. It's not really going to amount to much, but, you know, nice to see them over there. Probes having their little dance over here. And these AVs have found their way into the resourcing line. This AAV has got a support cruiser though, it has got smoke, so I figure nothing should really happen here. But this didn't smoke up this area just now. I feel Frosty Teeth kind of getting baited away from this base right here. I mean, all you gotta do is smoke. Just please smoke this thing. Oh, it's taking so much damage. Smoke it, smoke it, smoke it! Okay, he does get the smoke down eventually. Oh, it's still getting shot at from this side. Ooh. These smokes are really pretty sloppy. I'd love to see him bring his carrier right here. Bring it here so that he can heal the support cruiser. Oh, because if he loses the support cruiser, things are getting real hairy. At least run him away. Oh dear. Yeah, this support cruiser is going to go down here. That really should never have happened. And of course, there's more AAVs following it up. Another artifact scores. Meanwhile, support cruiser goes down. What a tragedy. This is looking pretty bad for Frosty Teeth. He's going to need to rebuild that. It's going to take a lot of time. Zico is getting falling behind, and there's 3 bases now from his opponent. This is good. When you're attacking, and your attack is going successful, or even if it's not, honestly, expand. Because then, the dust settles, your opponent maybe has taken damage, maybe he hasn't, but you have advanced and he has not. This, very good. An artifact is going to come out here. Whoa, for Frosty Teeth, which is excellent. Especially being on the defense, that's much more valuable. Whoa, this one's way high in the air. Look at that. Oh man. It's gonna fall and hurt someone. And there are railguns coming out now for YoloSwaggins to contest the railguns of his opponent, but certainly not as many. So he'll still have to be a little bit savvy with his railgun play here, or he can take some losses. I think this base runner is in kind of a random position, and sure enough, it's going to get caught out. It would have been better if he'd been hiding there just to get him cover. Embrace your inner counter-strike, you know what I mean? Like, hide behind the wall. So that base runner almost certainly going to go down now. Indeed it will. Pretty healthy number of LAVs here, but they're going to have some difficulty pushing into these railguns. Even just one AAV makes it very difficult, and there's 2 more in the back line. Assault pack coming down now for the LAVs. I really like that choice. And I feel like you could go for carrier production here, but maybe it's a bit premature. His opponent's still, though, only on like 1.5 bases, and he's on 3. And so this push is going to be losing steam for every second that it doesn't get into the base, which is why I like that he's moving out, but he's going to have to get something done big time here. This is a good start. He takes out a railgun for free. Actually, didn't even take any damage. 1 hit coming down on this AAV now. These 3 AVs going to be able to zone off these LAVs, but he's going to have to be careful he doesn't target them with his railgun. Actually, this one gets dangerously low on health, but doesn't quite go down. And actually, this attack is looking fairly prickly. I feel YoloSwaggins could get something done here if he wanted to. These railguns trying desperately to kill this turret, but of course railguns are not very good at that. But that's going to be taken down by the carrier, but this attack... Oh no, why are you staying here? This... juicy, succulent, like a burger. This place right here is just dusty. You don't want that. You know, because like I said, every second that this attack is not, attacking, he's losing steam. And I don't mean the program. I mean, the vaporized water. And so he needs to get in there and do something. Like if he's waiting here, things are gonna get bad pretty fast. His opponent is producing at this area, and he's gonna be able to outproduce. He's got a lot more money. And in fact, I don't see any more units coming out on the field for Frosty Teeth. What's he making? Support cruiser, okay, that makes sense. But That's the power of expanding when you're behind. You know, if your opponent doesn't attack you right at that moment, you start getting ahead. And suddenly this attack, which looked so prickly before, is just falling apart. All the railguns are going to go down, and now it's just 2 AAVs, and there's really nothing they can do. And I would say the window for Frosty Teeth to win this game is just closed, because there's nothing left on the field for him. I mean, he could come back by some kind of a miracle, but I really just feel like there's too much on the field now for, well, I mean, he's kind of lazily letting this expansion get attacked, but there's too much on the field, there's too much gonna be on the field for YoloSwaggins. And Frosty Teeth just is not there yet. I do like this harassment on the base here, but that didn't have to happen. I feel like just YoloSwaggins is a little lazy moving these railguns back. And these will get cleaned out, of course, now. What he could do is like smoke up right there and then keep shooting at them, which is always really annoying. I don't like this move with his carrier, because I feel like the carrier is the one way that he could lose right now. We know that he's ahead in economy, we know he's ahead in military. The only conceivable way, really, he could lose this game is if he accidentally blunders his carrier, and the opponent does have more power in that carrier, so I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a possibility at least. LAVs have actually found kind of a nice window on these railguns here, but there are armor upgrades. How many, in fact? 2. So those railguns are not going to go down anytime soon. This got cleaned up, didn't it? Yes, it did. Took out 2 salvagers though, and got quite a bit of damage on the sport cruiser, but too little, too late, I say. These rails targeting sand skimmers, they really need to be targeting this sport cruiser, I would say. Power Reserve 2 just now finishing for Frosty Teeth. You could put that into... Oh, and you get an artifact too, so you could, yeah, put in a lot of things. Just put one... Whoa, put one in armor, that'd be good. Small things, but they make a difference. And now it seems YoloSwaggins is pretty confident he can just take this fight. Although that sport cruiser did go down. And there's quite a few railguns here. Like I said, I mean, looks to me as if this is the only way he could feasibly lose. I really don't like this move here. I'd say, you know, trust in your army. Sack his main, back away, tech up to power 5, cruise missile him, you know, and then like you can just run in and kill him, sure, but but right now this is like the one way you could lose. And I don't think it's gonna happen, but it is notable that you're doing it, you know what I mean? So, but it looks like that's not gonna matter too much. Spare power and healing is not really going to do anything. I'd put it in armor, and I'd put one in armor as well for YoloSwaggins. But that's just fine. It looks like they are going to resolve their conflict eventually, as in Frosty Teeth is going to die. Like I said, he really had a window where he could have done some damage, you know, he could have like marched in there, but he just kind of stayed right there. I mean, like, that's pretty lazy. If you move into your opponent's base, you could have maybe even killed the support cruiser and done a lot of damage to that second, and then he'd be back in the game. 'Tis not to be, however. And his carrier is going to be destroyed. And that is going to be him out of this tournament. What a pity, I loved his name so much, but it was not meant to be. Happy to see the replay file wasn't corrupted. I was a little worried about that, but it's not the case. And YoloSwaggins will be moving on. I believe he faces Tren next, or maybe he faces me, I can't remember. One of those two. We'll be excited to see him in the next round of the elimination bracket.